Hello, this is part 2 of What If Female Deku Was the Goddess of Life and Death. And I just wanted to say something that I don't think that I did not clarify in the first part. So I wanted to clarify this. In this world, people do know that the Greek gods are known to the people and they know they exist. And those who are descended from the Greek gods usually have much more powerful quirks, which is where more powerful quirks came from, like One for All. Anyway, so I'm going to explain the thing, who's descended of which gods. So I'm going to say Shoto Todoroki is a descendant of Hades from his father's side. Actually, no, from his mother's side. So Rei is a granddaughter of Hades. Then we have Uraraka and Mina, who are both descended from Aphrodite. Then we have people like Kirishima and Tetsu, who are both descended from Ares. And I'll do one more. Give me a minute. Alright, and Shota Aizawa and Midnight are descendants from Hypnos. And for those of you who don't really know, he's more like a lesser god, and he's basically the god of sleep and dreams. So, give me a minute. I need to do something. Alright, sorry about that. And now we will continue. So, we'll cut back to Olympus, where all the gods are in a meeting, as Ares would burst through the door, as he would yell, This is important," as he is currently panting due to his physical body still being damaged from the rock Izumi threw at him in the last part. As this would say, Ares, what is it? As he would say, the goddess of life and death, Izumi, she's escaped. As Zeus would yell out, "What?" As this would echo throughout the entirety of Japan, as thunder can be heard in the clouds from this. As All Might would look up into the sky, as he would think, "Oh no, this is angry." As this would say, "Are you serious? She managed to escape. How?" As Ares would say, "Well, as I arrived there, I saw one of your descendants, Katsuki Bakugou, near the area. It is likely possible that he had undone the mechanism that kept her in confinement." As Zeus would say, I'll have Perseus talk to him. Right now, our main goal now is to get our descendants and try to get her locked back up. Now, UA is a college in this, and at this time, Bakugou is everyone in Class 1A is about 15 years old, so they're in high school right now. As there would basically be a manhunt out for Izumi. As we'll get to Izumi, where she's just in an open grassy field, just sitting down. As she would continue to look at the sky and the green grass, as she would touch it with her living hand, as a flower would begin to sprout from it. As she would let out a little smile, as she would be happy that her life powers her powers over life are still working. As she would then pluck the flower and then touch it with her other hand, the skeletal one, as the flower would then begin to decompose completely, as it would crumble into dust. As Izumi would begin to think to herself, I will really need to work on this. I could probably try covering it up, but I'm not sure if that'll work. As during this time, a lot of the pro heroes are currently... Some of the pro heroes and some of the lesser gods and higher gods are looking for Izumi. Now, in this timeline, All Might is married to Inko, and they do have a kid who goes to the same middle school as Bakugou, and he does have One for All. He's not that important to the story. He's not going to be that important to the story, so I'll probably not give him a name. But if you want him to be featured more in the story, then you guys can give him a name. Anyway, as Izumi would basically be able to hear all the people coming for her, as she would then think to herself, guess Ares already told them I got out. Well, time to get a move on then. As she would then stand up and begin to walk. As by the time the pro heroes have gone there, and all the other gods, she's already gone. But they can see evidence that she was there due to half of the grass basically flourishing and the other half was dead. As Thanatos would think to himself, sorry about that. As Thanatos would begin to think to himself, saying, this woman's power is much higher than mine. Usually for me, it takes a couple seconds, but for her, it's instant. As Izumi has made it away from the area, and she's currently in a mortal disguise. If you want to know what that looks like, this is what it looks like. This is her mortal disguise. But instead of like another eye being there, it's an eye patch. As she's walking through the city, as she would end up making it to Bakugou's house. As she'd knock on the door, as Mitsuki would open the door, as Izumi would say, hello, I am here to speak with a Katsuki Bakugou. Sorry about that. Give me a minute. Sorry about that. As Mitsuki would yell out, Katsuki, as he would respond with, what do you want, you old hag? As Mitsuki would yell back, don't you talk to me that way, you brat. Anyway, there's a girl here. She's wanting to see you. As Katsuki would walk to the front door. Perseus is on his father's half of the family. So only his dad and Bakugou can see through her disguise. So while everyone else sees this, Bakugo can see this, as she would say, "Why, hello there, Katsuki Bakugo. I'd like to have a chat with you." As Bakugo would immediately begin to push her out the door, as he would say to his mum, that he'll be back soon. He just needs to do something. As he would immediately shut the door. As Mitsuki would think, "That's odd, Bakugo's never acted like this." As Bakugo would say, "What the hell are you doing here? I heard that the gods were chasing you." As Izumi would say, "Well, they're gonna have to try a lot harder to find me because I've literally made tracks all over Japan. There's no way they're gonna find me anytime soon. Hold on." Okay, sorry about that. As Bakugo would say, "So, what do you want?" As Izumi would say, "Aw, can't a lady talk to the man who rescued her from imprisonment for eons?" As Bakugo would say, Bakugo would immediately freeze up, as she would then say, What would do you think the gods would do if they found out that you let me out on purpose just to see just to fight me, or find out what was in there? Bakugo would immediately stop, as he'd then say, "Alright then, let's talk." As Izumi is currently walking with him, as Bakugo would say, "So, what do you want?" As Izumi would say, "Well, as you know, I've lived eons without basically trying anything I could, and I have done many things. The only thing I haven't done is find love." So, Katsuki Bakugo, as they're currently walking through an alleyway right now, as Izumi would immediately spin around and, do that wall pin thing where, they have one hand up against the wall and, looking down on the person. As she would say, "Now, Katsuki Bakugo, what would you say what would you say if I said I'd like to try this love experience with you?" Bakugo would immediately turn red as he's stuttering at this point, as he's saying, "You're crazy." As Izumi would say, "Oh, I'm crazy? Well, then let me tell you a little story of how we got to this point." She'd basically explain the entirety of what happened, including the gods basically not wanting to do anything with her just because she existed, and the fact that she accidentally killed a god. As Bakugo's eyes would basically widen with each detail she went into. As Bakugo would say, "So they imprisoned you when you killed someone on accident?" As Izumi would say, "Yep, and it's all thanks to Zeus's superiority complex. Because he knew that if I ended up getting more powerful than him, that people might start worshipping me as the new head god. So he decided to cast me out and label me as a monster, as something that should be kept under wraps." As she would say, "And this," as she'd point to where her missing eye is, as she would then point up into the sky, as Thanatos is currently flying above, she would say, and that is where my eye is currently. As Bakugou would say, so wait, Thanatos was made from your eye? As Izumi would say, ding ding ding, bingo. Now then, on. As she would say, now then, Bakugou, what do you say to my proposal? And that is where I'm going to end this part off. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. And this will be a vote. So if you guys want Bakugou and Izumi to be in a relationship, type down yes or Y or whatever. Anything that you want it to be the ship, or you can put down no or N or whatever if you don't want it to be the ship. And I just wanted to discuss this for those of you who made it to the end of the video with the gargantuan Leviathan thing. I think, I know some of you might be a bit frustrated with me on not talking about her gargantuan thing. Her gargantuan mode. And I want to say it right here. In the first part, I'd like to get the characters' personalities down so you guys have a good idea of how they will act and how they will think. And so in the second part, I will be talking about her gargantuan mode a lot more. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time. And let's see if we can keep this series going, because I think a lot of you are enjoying this.